Welcome to The Explainer. So, today we're unpacking a truly monumental shift that's happening right under our noses. For decades, we've all just instinctively thought of politicians as the primary architects of American power, right? But what if the next era of history isn't being written in Washington at all, but out in Silicon Valley? We're looking at this totally new reality where power is rapidly shifting away from elected officials and moving directly into the hands of a really small, highly concentrated group of tech billionaires. And they're actively creating the most powerful artificial intelligence in human history. So, who are the next rulers of America? Man, it's a pretty provocative question, isn't it? Because these new potential rulers, they aren't just building cars, and they aren't just running the social media apps we scroll through when we're bored. Through AI, they're building systems that silently dictate what we watch, what we buy, who gets hired for a job, and crazily enough, potentially even how future wars are fought. So we have to ask, are they simply building the future, or are they quietly taking control of it? Okay, let's dive into this. To really grasp where we are right now, we kind of have to look at the timeline of where we've been. For over a century, the blueprint of American wealth followed a very clear physical path. We saw massive fortunes built on oil, then railroads, and then, of course, the explosion of the internet. But today? Today we're right in the thick of the AI infrastructure boom. And make no mistake, this isn't just some passing tech trend. This is literally the biggest technological race since the invention of electricity. The whole nature of the gold rush has completely transformed. Instead of physically digging for gold or constructing these massive brick-and-mortar manufacturing factories like we did in the past, today's empires are entirely digital. Today's gold is data. These companies are out there mining human behavior and building enormous AI data centers just packed to the brim with super advanced computer chips. They aren't selling traditional products off an assembly line. Actually, scratch that. They're selling intelligence itself. And the scale of this new gold rush? $1 trillion. I'm just going to pause for a second to let the sheer weight of all those zeros sink in. To put that into perspective, that's roughly equivalent to the entire GDP of the Netherlands. Analysts estimate that the world's largest tech companies are on track to invest close to $1 trillion into AI infrastructure over the coming years. They're making this colossal financial bet that AI is going to fundamentally reshape nearly every single industry on the planet, from medicine to finance to education. Section 2. The Architects of AI. The men behind the empire. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that this massive technological leap isn't being led by governments at all. It's being driven by specific billionaires. We've got 4 incredibly influential players here, and they all have really distinct roles in this ecosystem. First up, Sam Altman at OpenAI. His company essentially ignited this modern AI boom by creating the assistants millions of us use every single day. Then you've got Jensen Huang at NVIDIA. Now, he isn't building the chatbots you talk to. He's building the foundation, the graphics processors and chips that make training these models even possible. Next is Elon Musk with xAI, stepping right in as a direct challenger to the existing industry leaders. And finally, Mark Zuckerberg, who's pouring tens of billions into Meta to deeply integrate AI into the central products billions of us are already using. Different personalities, totally different companies, but one single goal: build the most powerful AI on Earth. Section 3. Why information is power. The real currency of AI. Because here's the thing, immense wealth alone doesn't actually equal power. Information does. And artificial intelligence learns from unimaginable amounts of human data, our text, our images, our videos, our daily online behavior, and it processes all this info faster than a human brain ever possibly could. It can predict customer choices with, honestly, eerie accuracy. It can write complex software code in seconds. It can generate highly realistic videos just from a text prompt, analyze dense medical records to find anomalies, and even assist with groundbreaking scientific research. The companies controlling these systems, they don't just own a clever piece of software. They own the underlying platforms that millions rely on daily, and that gives their creators an absolutely unprecedented competitive advantage across the whole economy. And this brilliantly illustrates the immediate result of these staggering capabilities. Enterprise AI adoption has accelerated rapidly among major U.S. firms. Businesses aren't just, tinkering with this in an R&D lab anymore. They're deeply integrating AI into their core operations at lightning speed. And this rapid business adoption is exactly why researchers and savvy investors are confidently calling AI the most important technological revolution since the internet. Let's move to and see how this builds into Section 4, a global geopolitical race, the billion-dollar battle beyond Silicon Valley.
So this narrative is escalating fast. The stakes have grown way beyond a corporate tech battle between a few wealthy CEOs. This is now a massive, high-stakes geopolitical competition between global superpowers. On one side, we have US tech firms pushing the absolute boundaries of what's possible, but they aren't operating in a vacuum. On the other side, international competitors, particularly China, are rapidly building powerful AI models of their own. This dynamic directly challenges any assumption of permanent American dominance in the tech space. As a result, US firms are facing immense pressure to accelerate their innovation even faster just to keep pace on the global stage.
So why is the global stage so hyper-focused on this? It's because governments now view AI not just as some fascinating tech story, but as the ultimate chessboard for national security and global power. The domains shaped by AI leadership are absolutely critical. We are talking about core economic strength, foundational national security, and literally the future of global influence. Whoever takes the lead in AI could fundamentally shape the balance of world power for decades to come. Section 5. Who controls the future? The big questions facing society. Bringing this all back home, as this tech scales at an unbelievable rate, traditional governance is really struggling to keep up. And that leaves us grappling with some massive, urgent questions. First up, could AI replace millions of jobs? This is a direct, immediate concern regarding the economic impact on the everyday workforce as these systems become more and more capable of doing human tasks. Second, will only a handful of companies control the world's most powerful technology? I mean, if it costs $1 trillion in infrastructure just to get in the game and compete, we have to seriously ask about the risks of monopolistic control over this new, unprecedented, world-altering infrastructure. And third, how should governments regulate systems that evolve so quickly? This is the crucial governance question of our time. Because make no mistake, the answers to all three of these questions aren't just fun academic debates. They're going to directly affect the privacy, prosperity, and daily life of every single American. When we step back and look at the historical arc here, the pattern is just striking. The oil barons, they shaped the physical infrastructure of the 20th century. Then the internet billionaires shaped the digital connections of the 21st century. So who's next? The AI billionaires. They're the ones currently positioned to shape the entire next chapter. And whether our future becomes more prosperous, more starkly unequal, or incredibly more innovative, well, that depends entirely on the architects of this technology and the guardrails we choose to place around them. I want to leave you with a final, provocative thought. The biggest question isn't whether AI will change America, it's who will control the future that AI creates. AI is changing the world, for sure. That's already a given. But remember, it's our society's rules, our institutions, and our collective choices that will ultimately guide how this immense power is used. Keep your eyes on these unfolding forces, guys, because this is really just the beginning. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I invite you all to keep questioning the future